Jeremy Weiss here live at RetailX. I'm here with Justin. And Justin, tell us about what you and the company does.
Well, I'm Justin Hill with MG2 Architecture and Design. We are retail designers. We work in multiple segments across the country and internationally, working for national retailers as well as local retailers across the board. We do store design, we do graphic design, and of course architecture for retailers around the world.
Talk about one of your most interesting client cases.
So a project that we've recently completed was for SSP America, who is a concessionaire at airports. Airport food and beverage and retail is obviously an up-and-coming industry, and they're doing really well. And SSP and MG2 have been working together for the last few years. We recently opened a venue in Portland, at the Portland Airport, called Hopworks. And it's an amazing venue. It's a local brand out of Portland, and then they brought it into the airport, and it's been an amazing success of brand translation, helping somebody who doesn't necessarily have a national brand presence.
That's
Understanding,
really cool,
yeah,
because now it almost is like they have a national brand presence, especially in the airport, because everyone's going to they're like, oh, we don't have this in our city.
Right, they've got an international brand presence, which is it's been fun for that, and they're very unique. They're very Portland, right? So they have their unique edge to how they do their packaging and how they do their venue. They're very they're gearheads a little bit, so there's bicycles in there, and just it's a little bit different kind of venue for the airport. And it was a lot of fun working with the Port of Portland, as well as with that particular retailer.
What's the hardest part about working with the airport? I feel like that could be a complicated setting to be in.
Yeah, it's an additional level of review. So traditionally for us, we're dealing with a client, a jurisdiction, possibly a developer, a landlord. At the airport, there's another level of security. There's another level of scrutiny.
You can't just walk in there.
You can't just walk in there. We have to get special badging to be able to do our site visits, that sort of thing. So there's another level of complexity, and also another set of eyes looking at the projects.
What other type of clients? Talk about other clients that you have.
Yeah, so we work with national clients, so some big box retailers you've probably heard of, Target, Costco.
Never heard of
those. Little companies like that.
What kind of stuff do you do for them?
So for Costco, we've been working with them since 1983. It's a long-standing relationship, and that's what we like. We like to work with people for long periods of time. We do just about everything for them. We do their site development, consulting, as well as help them with the projects, the stores and the development there, and then we also help them with their facilities projects. We also do all their other ancillary kind of work for them. Target, again, we've also been working with them since 1999 for various projects. Right now we're on part of their teams doing remodels and special projects.
How did you get into this industry?
Well, I was looking for a job when I got out of school, and the firm that it was during one of the recessions back, I won't say how far long ago.
You look young. It's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'll try that. No, it's been so the firm I landed in was a firm that was founded on retail. Doug Mulvaney founded the firm in 1971. And he basically founded it based on looking around the industries and saying which industry is almost always moving forward even in a recession, and he landed on retail, and so that's the firm that we've been. Since then we've diversified. We do other types of work too. We do commercial, mixed-use developments, some hospitality and residential, but we're still primarily a retail firm.
Some of the challenges of retail, because you see it from a little different perspective.
So the challenges of retail is the speed of change. Really right now the industry is changing. Stores are changing. The purposes of stores are changing. I've had several conversations already this week about how relevant is the store, and how do we keep the store experience relevant and for the customers and for the shoppers.
And what do they say? And what do you say?
So it is about focusing on experience. It's focusing on creating those experiences for the customer that are going to be memorable, that are going to cause them to want to come back, that are going to promote brand loyalty. Because really the customer is looking for that experience, and if they can get a good experience, they'll come back to the brands. I mean, that's really the secret sauce to any retailer is if they can get that customer engaged and that customer to have some sense of connection to their brand, then the money follows.
What's a tip that a retailer can use to improve the experience? Because they're almost coming to you not just for the whole, hardware stuff, but actually to the whole strategy of improving the experience, right?
Right. So I think the biggest tip is to pay attention every step along the way. It really isn't about one thing. There was a time when everyone was trying to get an Instagram experience, and so they would put a backdrop into their store and say, okay, we've done it. We've become digital friendly. But it really is looking at everything along the way and making the right decisions as you go through the process, but don't shortcut the process. Understand developing a good experience for the customer requires several touch points and requires several levels and layers of design, and so not shortcutting that process.
What would be an example of that? Like maybe when someone's walking in, what would...
So the customer journey is something that we're always looking at, and customers, there are multiple types of shopping experiences. So some people are coming in just for a simple transaction. They know what they want. They're going to go get their product and get out. You want to make that easy?
I try and get out of Costco. I can't leave without spending like hundreds of dollars.
Costco is unique, and I'm the same way. I love Costco, and actually Costco for me is I just walk the aisles, right? You walk up and down every aisle, you see what's new, see what strikes you, what you might accidentally find that you need that you didn't know you needed.
And now I know you're behind why I'm spending so much money at Costco.
It's not a well-kept secret. They're pretty transparent about what the experience is. It's a treasure hunt, right? And that's another part of this is you want to create those experiences where people are looking for something new. They're engaged. It's funny to think of Costco because they are somewhat no frills as such an engaging experience, and yet it totally is. People go in there and they're looking, they're searching. They're not just...
You'll hang out there for a day.
Yeah,
I mean...
It's a multi-hour experience, right?
Yeah.
And we design accordingly. But so you're looking for something new. So we try and build that into all of our retail experiences. You're wanting to provide something for the customer where if they're curious, you want to pique their curiosity. If they're exploring something, you want to do that. You also want to provide opportunities for them to interact with people, interact with sales associates. So you want to make those things sort of intuitive for the customer, as well as for the sales associates. Give them something to do, appear useful while they're waiting for the customer to interact, and then have the ability to interact with them.
What are some big mistakes you see retailers making? I'm sure you walk into stores all the time, and you have your lens on of your professional lens, and you're like, this is not so good. What's some big mistakes you see?
So there's a theory in retail, and some retailers still ascribe to it. It's stack it high and watch it fly. So it's basically cramming everything you possibly can into a store, assuming the more product you put in the store, the more product you'll sell. And that actually works in some segments of retail. There are some kinds of retail where that's the experience the customer is expecting. I think it's a mistake, though, if you are not that kind of a retailer to try and do that, because you're just trying. The challenge you have there is you've got inventory control issues, but you're also creating a negative experience for your customer where they're not expecting that, they're not wanting that. And then they get that and they're like, this is not what I want. This is not what I needed. It's not what I expected from you guys.
Talk a little bit the future of retail, right? You talked a little bit about it, but what you see with the kind of the sect of e-commerce and retail.
So there is that convergence. All retail is really about transactions, right? That's all at the base of all retail is a transaction. So whether it happens in a store or on your phone or at home, it's still retail. So I think the industry is coming to grips with that and understanding that, anything that creates a transaction. I know the retailers and the product producers, definitely see that, and they don't really care where the transaction happens. For us in the store design world, we are trying to reduce barriers and create experiences. So that because of the ease of travel and the endless aisle that people have access to, the reason for somebody to come into a store is going to be for an experience. It's going to be to interact with the product, but it's also going to be to have an experience of some sort themselves. So the future of retail really is around melding those things and making sure that it is not a singular thing. It's not just transactional, but that there's, again, those layers available to the customer.
Thank you. Where can people find out more?
MG2.com.
MG2.com. Jeremy Weiss, live from RetailX.